Hello and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. My name is Colette and I'm here today to do a reading, the tarot, first part of my reading for the Libra full moon that's taking place on the 16th of April. It's happening in the UK at 17:54 hours. It will be different in other parts of the world. But this is not the astrology part of the reading that I'm doing here, so I'm not going to go too in depth into it. This is the tarot part, so if you're interested in the tarot part, then this is what I'm doing here. And I will be putting the astrology part out after this reading has been done as well. So welcome to those of you who have been here before, and a big welcome to those of you who have also come over to find out what it's all about. This reading is for the collective. It's an intuitive tarot reading to see what is taking place between the next 2 weeks for us, from the full moon in Libra up to the new moon that is happening in Taurus, and the energies that we are likely to be dealing with as well. So the first card that I'm going to show you is the... Oh, that's really bright. Sorry about that. It doesn't really show very well there. That's better. It's Metatron. And this is coming out of the Angel script. So I will read who Metatron is and what he's about. So I asked which angel energy we were dealing with mostly at this time during these 2 weeks that are leading up to the Taurus new moon from the Libra moon, and it's just literally opened up on that page, if you can see that. So Metatron is judgment, and that's very interesting because the Libra full moon is kind of all about the scales and justice as well. Libra full moon is also balance and harmony. It's ruled by Venus, which the cards I have behind me here is Libra, I balance. It's also harmony, it's diplomacy, it's about our relationships to others around us, business relationships, intimate relationships. Venus ruled, and it's 7th house energy as well, so that is all about partnerships of all kinds and how we work with those partnerships in our life. And lastly, it's an air sign. It's ruled by air, so it's very much to do with communication, and again kind of balance and kind of harmonious communication, the best way to get the best results out of something. So I'm going to read the Metatron judgment energy here, and it says, the great Metatron sits on the throne of the Almighty, where we meet the day of judgment. The creative intelligence which fires the universe seeks that we give all our commitment, all our dedication to achieving the task which we have chosen for ourselves. When we come to judgment, we will be called to account for our actions. In the presence of judgment, we will be obliged to uncover every secret, and our book of life will be marked. Judgment is the place where we meet our karma, for Metatron is the great measurer who weighs our souls in the balance. Very, very interesting, because this is not something that I chose. This is something that has come through. So there is no deed, good or bad, so small or insignificant that it is not recorded in the universe, in the universal. All our deeds make up the pattern of our destiny, and we carry them with us as we move forward in time. So basically it's saying that as we reincarnate or come back to the earth plane, or even move into different dimensions for those who go beyond, there is always that record of our past lives that we carry through with us. So often we are aware that we have choices to make which will seriously affect the fruit which we will reap in the future. Then we are careful to consider our actions. Much of the time, however, we live from moment to moment, unconsciously, not holding conscious awareness of our more day-to-day activities or habits. It is essential for our spiritual future that we become more conscious of the way in which we act and choose always the path of the wise, taking as our guide the teachings of the great beings who have trodden the way before us. Then we will come to judgment with a clear conscience, certain that we can move forward unhindered by the past. And that's very interesting again as well, because the first cards here are kind of implying that to me. That's kind of what I saw when I saw these 3 cards that have come out in this tarot reading. So I'm going to start with the Strength card, which is in reverse. And what I got from this was that the Strength card, when it's in reverse, I always feel as though it's something that's being used against us, like our own strength is being used against us somehow, our own inner willpower, our own understanding of who we are, why we're here, where we've come from, what makes us who we are. But it also came out with the 6 of Swords in reverse as well. And this kind of has this story or feeling about it being misdirected somehow, like there's a misdirection here, because with the 6 of Swords it's like we're moving forward, we're moving into the future. But when it's in reverse, it feels as though something is working against us. It's like a stuck energy or something that is misdirected here. And it is to do with our own understanding of who we are, because that's really what the card of Strength is talking about. It's about coming to an understanding of our own strength, our own willpower, and how we use it. Often it's shown with the lion and the female kind of holding onto the lion. And it can represent that masculine and feminine balance, that need for the balance between the masculine and the feminine. And that is very much out of balance at this time, has been for a long time. And I feel again that also has something to do with kind of our acceptance of who we are and where we're going. But it feels like a misdirected energy is what's coming through most strongly for me in these 2 cards on their own. And then we have the card of the World, which is over the top of these cards here. And the World is endings and beginnings, things that have to come to an end before the beginning or before the new starts. So it feels like kind of being caught up or stuck in this idea of this not knowing who we are or knowing our own strength when it comes to something. The Strength card also relates to the Leo energy as well, so it can also represent the like the Leo, the lion basically, who's kind of like known as the king of the jungle. So it can represent sovereignty, again, that kind of sovereign self, the person who has to learn to stand up for ourselves and to be counted for who we are, and not allow ourselves to be misdirected or taken on a different course, a different path, a different journey. Is how it's coming through. And that in order to do so, in order to kind of let go of, we need to let go of this misdirection, this old idea of who we are and what we're about in order for this new beginning to take place, in order for this new world to come into being. Because it looks to me as though it's like something being unveiled in this card. So I'll turn it up the right way. Like there's an unveiling there, like something is being taken away. Literally like a veil. Oh, it was, sorry, it was up the right way. Like a veil being lifted and things being revealed, which is really interesting because at the time of this full moon in Libra, we also had very strong Pisces energy with the conjunction that has just taken place on the 12th of April with Pisces, sorry, with Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, and Jupiter coming together in Pisces in the 12th house energy, which can also be seen as hidden enemies as well. But it's like something being revealed that we're suddenly kind of becoming aware of that has affected our world, our life, who we are, as to who we could be or have wanted to be. That's interesting as well because I kind of see her here as well. If you see, she's actually, this character here is also here in the corner there, almost like hidden out of sight. But also like she's actually helping to unveil something there as well. So it could be that whatever is being unveiled, we may feel we have no power over. We have no strength over it. It's going, or possibly that it's even going to affect our movement forward. Because I do feel as though there's a strong connection there with this same character turning up in that world card as well. But the Neptune Jupiter energy that is still around is all about revealing things. It's all about things coming to light, shall we say, that have been hidden from us, and it feels as though it's kind of like changing the world entirely. There's a whole new growth or understanding or seeing things or knowing, knowledge being revealed. Something is being revealed here. And because in our heads and what we're aware of, we have the Seven of Swords, and the Seven of Swords is very much a kind of card of deception. It's in reverse again, but it's in our heads. It's what we're aware of. We're aware of the fact that there is deception, although it is in reverse. So it's kind of saying that there's still this kind of unsureness about this. About who we can trust, who we can't trust. She's holding two, there's two swords in the background, and she's holding 5 swords in her arms here as well. Sorry about that lighting there, that's better. And that's interesting as well because the 2 swords again is like balance. It's like being kind of balanced between two things. But it can also represent the 2 of Swords energy itself, which represents indecision or a decision that needs to be made, and not necessarily wanting to make that decision because either way is going to have an effect. And then there's the Five of Swords that she's carrying here as well. And the Five often talks about self-sabotage and conflict, outward conflict. Conflict with others, not seeing eye to eye. But the Seven is a card of deception. It can be a card of keeping things close to our chest because we're not ready to reveal things as well. Or even that we're being kept in the dark about something as well. Not being given all the information that we need in order to be able to make the right decision on something. And the cards that we have for the energy moving away is Justice, which is kind of that Metatron energy as well. We have Athena and the Two of Swords, not swords, sorry, wands or staves as it's called in this particular deck, or rods. And again, there's a similarity with the imagery here as well, to do with this kind of standing between these two pillars, these two choices, these two potentials, these two possibilities. Athena was also known as the weaver as well, the weaver, the spinner. And the thing about Justice, or Athena should I say, is that she's also an energy that isn't emotionally caught up in things. She's not emotionally attached to the outcome, whereas we're much more emotionally attached to the outcome. For Athena, it's just a matter of justice, balance. You do something, you get the consequences from it, which is kind of what Metatron was saying as well. It's that same energy. You do something, you get the consequences. So it's a major arcana card, so it's a big energy that's kind of saying that we're in this energy, although it's moving away, of being, of having made decisions, shall we say, having made decisions already, having put ourselves into a place of of action, of taking action on the past, because this is moving away. So it's kind of saying to me that whatever actions, decisions that have been made, we have already been kind of, I suppose, judged in a way, or justice is being kind of dealt out to us individually in a way. And as I was saying, that Athena doesn't really care about our emotional understanding of it, if you like. She's very clinical in a way, Athena. She's very logical minded. She was born from the head of Zeus, I believe it was, that she was born from. So she didn't have the emotional attachment that that humans have when it comes to being kind of created in a space of being born from the mother. Athena was born from the mind of a god. So she doesn't have the emotional thought or feeling. She doesn't have that emotional feeling. She's all about the thoughts. And with the Two of Staves here, I feel as though that's kind of saying, you know, that this is the decisions that we've made. This is the path that we've chosen to walk down individually as well as collectively. Over these past years, we've all had to make decisions one way or another. These decisions have been put in front of us and we have all gone with how we have felt about it. And so now the kind of next step, if you like, is is the consequences of those actions. And in the deep subconscious here, we have the Seven of Cups in reverse. And that's kind of saying to me that this is that energy. This is that having to have made those decisions, and maybe not like based on things that weren't fully knowable. So we had to really go within. It kind of has a reflection energy for me, this card, where you see her with her eyes shut and she's kind of in that dream state, or in that kind of deeper reflective meditative like feeling. Going within to find the right answer, to make the right choices and the right decision. And there's lots of different choices there as well. If you look at the energy of this card, there's lots of different choices to be had there. And it's kind of saying as well that the choices that were made from our own personal beliefs, if you like, our own personal just choice, our choice from what we understood about something. But because it's in reverse, again, it feels like not having all of the information. And so there may be even now some kind of buyer's regret, shall we say, on some level for some people. And the energy that we're moving into, we have the Three of Cups in reverse, and this came out with the words like three's a crowd, too much, too many heads, too many I know it's supposed to be a celebratory energy, but when it's in reverse it doesn't feel like a celebratory energy. It feels more like an energy of too much, too how can you put it? How can I put it? Possibly even trying to please everybody or please others in order to be kind of accepted as part of the group. So it's kind of saying, again, with this energy here, it's like, you know, did the decisions that we made and the path that we chose and that we've walked down, are we doing it from our own understanding and our own perspective, or are we, because this is the energy that's moving in, are we trying to accommodate everything or everybody else in order to keep and please everybody else, to keep everybody else happy except ourselves? Have we learnt that lesson? Is also what's kind of coming through here with the Justice card. And some people may see that as a selfish motivation of not putting other people first, but really if you don't put yourself first, then you can't feed yourself from that cup. I mean, the Three of Cups is supposed to be, or the Cups energy is emotions, it's love, it's giving ourselves the love that we need, drinking from that cup of love. But if we don't put ourselves first and drink first from that cup of love, then we end up lacking. And you can't give from a place of lack. So there is a lesson in that as well, because we also have the Five of Swords in reverse here as well. And I'm going to go back to this Seven of Swords as well here, which I was talking about earlier, where she's carrying these 5 swords in her arms. And 2 of the other swords are stuck behind. So these are the 5 swords that she's gathered together and gathered up. And this 5 of Swords is always about conflict. It's always about competition. It's always about wanting to seem better than somebody else, more knowledgeable, because it is swords, and the swords is to do with the mind, thoughts, but it's also to do with arguments, particularly when it's in reverse. And this is where we are at this time with this 5 of Swords. So there's a lot of, it's coming through as unharmonic energy is what I'm being given. Unharmonic, like there's clashing of energies here. And this is where we are at this time in this energy, where the okay, it's like there's more conflict than there is harmony. And this could also be being done deliberately, because it's much easier to it's interesting as well, because I've just seen we've got the 5, we've got the 6, and we've got the 7, and they are all in reverse as well, and these are all unharmonious energies. And unharmonious energies, when you're coming from a place of imbalance and a sense of how can I put it? Conflict within and without. It's much easier to be conquered, to have that strength used against us than for us. And also with this 3 of Cups here as well, it's kind of talking about keeping that disharmony. Because again, if you can keep the disharmony, then you can keep the control easier. It's easier to control people when they are not working together in harmony. And then we have the Temperance card, and for me this kind of sums up the Neptune energy and the Jupiter energy as well in many ways. Temperance is usually seen as, so actually this is temptation. It's not temperance, it's temptation. So this is the devil energy. This is devil energy. This is about getting caught up in that And this is what I was going to say, it is like being caught up in that fog, in that spider web. I kind of tend to see that as a spider web, or like because this is actually a mermaid. But she's in reverse. Sorry, I don't mean to kind of just sit there and stare at it, but it's in reverse, and it feels like, you know, that kind of, okay, I'm getting a kind of an image of like Lord of the Rings, or like in the movies where you've got all that cobweb stuff that you have to kind of try and get through, and it's like fog in a way. It's like you can't see because there's so much of it. You can't get through it because it kind of attaches itself to you, and it's difficult for you to, or for us to be able to see clearly, to see what's beyond. But it's also coming through with this unveiling energy as well, with this world here of this. It's kind of got a similar feel to it for me, of this kind of veil, this kind of like, yeah, like sticky stuff that kind of sticks. It's like, I'm getting the word ectoplasm. I don't know why I'm getting the word ectoplasm, but that's kind of how it feels. It kind of feels like some kind of like energy that's kind of not, that we're all caught up in. We're all kind of wrapped up in it, in a collective energy, wrapped up in this confusion. But it feels like this energy, it feels like something that we don't necessarily see it. It's more like on an energetic level. And it attaches itself to us on an energetic level. And it's to do with our, again, it feels like it's to do with our level of vibration. Like working, if we're working on a lower vibration, which is why it's much easier to control us, if we're working from that lower vibrational energy of not coming together, of not of like disharmony, of causing disharmony within group, like infiltration in a way. But it feels like it's not necessarily, although there is this image of kind of being caught up in that kind of sticky, almost kind of, I don't want to say candy floss, but it's that kind of like, once it's attached itself to you, it's really hard to shake it off kind of energy. It's really hard to kind of remove it, which is where the temptation comes in as well, because it's kind of keeping us in that place. In a way, it kind of keeps us in our own suffering and our own pain, because we keep going back to it, which is again what I think this is about, is like letting it go. We need to let the old ideas go so that we can move past what has been into this new world. But this is what's keeping us trapped. and stuck. And that's kind of what this energy here is about as well. Okay, so in our hopes and our fears, we have another 5. We have the 5 of Cups. And the 5 of Cups is all about sorrow and guilt, sadness, focusing on the past. Again, that focusing on the past rather than looking into the future, seeing that there is something else or something that we can make a difference, we can change things, we can turn things around. But it's saying that if we keep focusing in the past, then it's just going to keep us there. It's part of this energy. It's all part of the same energy. So by keeping us in fear, which is something else that's coming through here as well, and keeping us in fear and sorrow and sadness and loss and guilt, that's another big one that's coming through there. The more we feel guilty, the more stuck we become. But the last card and what we have as our outcome here is the King of Pentacles. And he is upright. One of the few cards actually upright on the table is the King of Cups. Coins. King of Coins or Pentacles. And he is an energy of stability, of knowing himself, of being very grounded, very confident in his abilities. Also, I'm getting an energy of gratitude here as well for what he has, what he's achieved, what he's learnt along the way, even if the lessons have been hard in order to get to this point. But there's something there is like this strength about this king. It's like he really knows who he is. He knows his inner strength. He knows his worth, is what's coming through here. He knows his value. He knows his worth. Pentacles, coins, earth energy. So it's kind of saying that there is this it feels like a turnaround in a way, or it's like, you know, everything that we have to go through to get to that point will be worth it. Like feeling like kings on a throne is kind of how that's coming through there. So let's see what we have. We have the 8 of Swords, which I'm not surprised about because it seems to be going in sequence here. We've got the 5, the 6, the 7, and now we've got the 8. And I'm honestly was thinking earlier I wouldn't be at all surprised if the 8 doesn't come out. So the 8 of Swords here shows a swan that is trapped in a nest of thorns. The 8 is about our own being trapped by our own ways of thinking, doing, believing. It's an energy of self-imprisonment in many ways. self-imprisonment. It's allowing ourselves to stay in that energy even when it is possible for us to remove ourselves from it, but our mind keeps us there. Our mind plays tricks on us. Our mind tells us the same thing over and over again. We're not good enough, we're not this, we're not that, or we see the worst possible outcome before it actually happens, and therefore we kind of magnetize that. We believe, oh, that's exactly what's going to happen, and so we focus our attention on the worst possible outcome, and in doing so we kind of manifest it, if you like, and therefore we stay trapped in that belief system, unable to escape, because our mind is kind of bringing in that same story over and over again, and it becomes like that self-fulfilling prophecy. So because we like to be right about something as well, we will kind of make it real in order to kind of say, well, there you go, I knew I was right, I knew that that's how it was. So there is also that energy at play here as well. And that's a dangerous energy to be trapped in. That's a dangerous place to get caught up in. And there is at this time a lot of swords. There's a lot of the mental energy here is very, very strong. The mental process, the thinking, the mind. Libra, of course, is that energy. It is the air energy. The mind, the thinking, the thoughts. So the Eight of Swords also says, you know, can we control those thoughts? Can we take them to a place where we're not feeling the worst and telling ourselves the worst and bringing that into our reality? And we actually have in our head, and what we're aware of over the top of this Seven of Swords, is the divine energy of the High Priestess. So she is all about the inner knowing, the inner wisdom. So it's coming out of the head and into the inner consciousness, the subconscious realm of the inner knowing, is what this is saying here. Listen to our own inner voices. Listen to our own inner wisdom. There's an owl. Oh, sorry, there's an owl in that picture as well. And the owl, of course, is also Athene's bird, was the owl of wisdom. The inner knowing, the wise. Listen to the inner voice, not the outer. Not the ego mind, which is what this is here. And this is what's keeping us trapped in this energy here. And there's a sense of here that she's kind of rising up as well. This kind of inner knowledge is kind of, I feel as though it's kind of saying it's coming back into our awareness. It's rising up. Sorry about that light. I don't know if I should just turn it around a wee bit without it all falling up, down and collapsing. That's slightly better. So it's like the rising of the coming through as a rising of this kind of worldly knowledge somehow, this kind of feminine, mother nature, inner wisdom. Instead of this very logical, masculine, academic driven, science driven kind of mind state where everything is very factual. The High Priestess says to us to turn within, to find the wisdom that's always been there, and let ourselves open up to it, open up to our inner knowledge, our inner understanding. Trust our inner knowledge, our inner understanding, because that's something we're not brought up to do. We're not brought up to trust our feelings and our inner knowing, and when we have these feelings and we maybe talk about it, particularly when we're younger, then people kind of look at you as if you're mad, and that kind of puts a block in the way of actually trusting our own knowing and our own inner voice, because everybody is brought up to trust in what's going on externally rather than internally. So we have the Wheel of Fortune, which is a very interesting card to have here as well, because it does talk about things moving, shifting forward. Like you cannot stop. What I'm getting here is that you cannot stop what is yet to come. And there's no point in looking backwards as well. There's this kind of feeling of looking backwards, looking back to the past, trying to kind of get back to the past. But the Wheel of Fortune is saying, no, you can only go forward. You can only move in one direction. You can only move forward. In order to arrive where we need to be, we have to look forward. Looking back into the past is just going to keep us, again, like stuck in that past energy. And again, with this Justice card, I mean, the Justice card and the Wheel of Fortune together is kind of saying, you know, that there is justice is reaping. We are reaping what we have sown in many ways. And also that we have kind of always been on this cycle, this wheel of life, if you like. And we're all at different levels of understanding or different kind of points on this wheel. And also that whatever we are thinking or projecting out there, as I was talking about this energy here, this kind of negative mind state, if we're stuck in that negative mind state and projecting that outwardly, then that's what we are going to experience. As the wheel keeps turning, we are going to bring that into our reality. So whatever we are kind of putting out there, which I see as, I don't know if you can see those kind of spikes on that wheel. It's like those are our kind of thoughts, if you like, our thought patterns. And as we're kind of projecting them out there, we kind of turn, as the wheel turns, we go to meet up with these thought patterns and manifestations. And when we're all doing that on a collective scale, kind of brings in those cycles again and again and again, because we're all kind of conditioned into certain ways of thinking and being and believing. So we just keep on repeating the same cycles over and over again, which is where I feel that we are at this time. So we have the Two of Pentacles over the top of this Seven of Cups, which kind of reflective energy of not knowing, not being given all the information, having to go within. But the Two of Pentacles is saying to me here that it is about that kind of sorry, it's not the two, it's the 10 of Pentacles. I really do need to take my glasses off because I can't see the writing with my glasses on, which may seem a bit weird. But so the 10 of Pentacles is about something coming to an end here. It's completion. It's having reached a point in our journey, and I'm kind of seeing this Wheel of Fortune here as well. It's having reached a point in our journey where we're having to start again. 10 of Pentacles, it's kind of saying that you've come to that conclusion, you've reached the pinnacle, you've reached as far as you can go on that particular road, and now there's a new road to go down, there's a new journey to be taken. And it's on a deeper subconscious level, because this is literally in the subconscious. This is the root cause of the energy that we're in at this time. It's like we all on some deep subconscious level know that things have to change, things have to move in a different direction, move forward. That we need to maybe start making different choices. With that Seven of Cups there as well, because Seven of Cups can be about the choices that we make, or is about the choices that we make and how they affect us in the long term. And so over the Three of Cups we have the Queen of Cups. So this is about love, and it feels like love, as I was saying earlier, about love for the self, like feeding the self first, giving to yourself first before you can give to somebody else. And that's really what the Queen of Cups tries to teach. That is her lesson. Queen of Cups is very feminine. She's very, well, she's Piscean energy. She's the water signs. But I particularly feel the Piscean energy at this time because of where we are at astrologically right now. But she's also Scorpio and Cancerian energy. But there's also an element of trust here as well, because she's kind of walking on the water and trusting that her path is there in front of her. Like she's just going to be, these turtles are just going to swim up and just kind of be there for her so that she can continue to walk across that water. Of course, the Queen of Cups is also emotions, our feelings. About diving deeper into our feelings as well is also what I'm getting here. Diving deeper into our emotions. Which kind of links in with this High Priestess energy as well. This kind of, they've both got their arms out. They've both kind of got this sense of freedom about them, or a sense of rising up, trusting, like totally arms open wide, just waiting for like just waiting in that knowledge, that wisdom, that understanding of the feminine is what's coming through here. Very much that kind of feminine, drawn to the feminine energy. There's just this sense of trusting ourselves, trusting our compassionate heart, rather than dividing, rather than allowing ourselves to be divided. It's kind of saying, this is about working together, because those turtles are all coming together to kind of show her the way across the water. Through the emotions. And there's a strong sense of just knowing. She just knows that she'll be safe, that she just knows that it's going to be okay. That there is teamwork here. Is how it's coming through. It's like, yeah, I'm just really drawn to these turtles. And these turtles are Mother Earth. In Native American Indian mythology, they see the turtle as Mother Earth. They see her as the goddess, the turtle, because they birth so many eggs and give birth to so many baby turtles all at once. Yeah, there's just something about this energy of them all working together, like the turtles all working together in order to bring that safety and security, and kind of like, because she's got her foot up there as well, it's like she's going to take the next step, and she already knows what the next step is. There's no hesitation, there's no fear there either. So it's like, whereas the Three of Cups feels as though it's disharmony, this definitely feels as though it's very harmonious. Working on an emotional level of trusting. Again, it's like trusting our emotional guidance is what I'm getting. Trusting our emotional guidance. How we feel. How we feel about something. Whether it feels right and harmonious to us or whether it feels disharmonious. We will know the right steps to take to lead us to where we need to go. Okay, so we have the Strength card again, which is always good to see it come out again, except this time it is upright. So this is us working, again it feels like in harmony. In harmony with our masculine and our feminine energy, balancing it out. And feeling as though we ourselves, because it's with the Five of Swords as well, so that is that inner conflict, that competition, that this is us being in our power, in our strength. Again, coming out of the head energy and more into the body energy is kind of how it's coming through here. Again, that more Leo energy. The sovereign self. Leo is ruled by the sun. And of course, in our solar system, everything moves around the sun. So it's kind of becoming the centre of our own universe as well, recognising that we are the centre at that wheel there. That is us at the very centre of our universe, which we're not told that we are when we're younger. But of course we also have to live in a world that's full of lots of other people. And so there's going to be conflict, there's going to be clashes, there's going to be misunderstandings or difficulties, wanting to be the best or on top of everybody else in a way. Trying to prove ourselves better than others. But this card is saying here, the Strength card is saying that if you have that inner strength, you don't need to do this. If you know who you are, if you have that inner strength of your own self-worth, courage to stand up for what's right, then you don't have to do this. You don't have to be in this constant mind state of conflict and having to prove something to everybody else. Of course, the Libra energy is also about the balancing of the masculine and the feminine energies as well. Inner and outer relationships. Of course, the sun is in Aries when the moon is full in Libra. So the Aries energy is about the self and how all relationships start with the self, and right relationship with the self brings in right relationships with everybody else. So it kind of brings it back to center again. So we have the Three of Wands in reverse, and we have the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. That's interesting. And the reason it's interesting is because it's over the top of this energy here, and literally it's kind of cobwebs and spiders, and that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. So it feels like getting trapped in like the Eight of Pentacles is about hard work, putting in the time, putting in the energy and the effort. And the Three of Wands is an energy of kind of it can be to do with taking risks, risk taking. It's often seen as an energy of waiting for our boats to come in, but I kind of don't see it so much as that energy, because it's kind of the three, I think, is more about bringing things together in order to create something. The Three of Wands, bring things together, is kind of how it comes through for me. It could be an energy of waiting for the right time to bring things together in order for them to be able to work together. But I'm still getting with this, it's almost like this energy of realizing that the path that we've taken, because there, if you see there, she's kind of standing on the end of this bridge, and it's kind of feeling like that energy of the path that we've taken is kind of a dead end in a way. It's like it's leading us down a dead end. Or there's just this kind of drop at the end of this where we either going to have to again take that risk of trusting where we're going to land. It's coming through a bit like the Fool energy in a way, trusting where we're going to land. There's also a sense of trying to see beyond where we have been as well with this energy here, like trying to get to a higher vantage point, but it is in reverse. As was this Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is about hard work. It's about having got to a point where we've learnt our skill, but it may also be a time of changing our careers or changing what we've done in the way that we've done it previously. It's time to kind of move out of that. And I'm getting the same kind of cobweb energy of being stuck in something, doing the same thing over and over again, and expecting a different result is what's coming through here. Again, those spiders, the cobwebs, this is what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about this card and how that came through for me, was kind of seeing that, you know, all those cobwebs, I don't know if you can see that very well, but they are spiders and cobwebs. And yeah, getting like caught in those cobwebs and getting trapped in there because we can't kind of get ourselves out, is how I'm seeing this all of this energy. So that one's not up the right way. It's like time, it feels like time for something to let go. To let go of going down the same path, getting stuck, dead ends, like something coming to an end. Something that we thought may have given us better results or better answers is just leading us back to the same that kind of stuck, stagnant energy is kind of what's coming through here. Plus the same kind of temptations, the same fears, the same story over and over again. And what I'm also seeing here as well with this 3 is that actually down here there is another path, an entirely different path. Oh, sorry about this lighting, I'm going to have to get something sorted about that. That entirely different kind of winding path, and we don't know where it's going to take us. And that could also be why it's in reverse as well, because there is this element of like, well, isn't it better to stick with what we know rather than to try something new, unknown, the unknown, which is also the High Priestess energy as well. She is that unknown quantity. We don't know where we're going. We don't know what's going to happen. We have to trust. Trust ourselves, trust the source, trust love of ourselves, trust that we are loved. And that's also where I think the risk taking comes in as well with this card, with the 3 of Pentacles, 3 of Wands, sorry, is that risk that you need to take in order to be able to achieve anything. Coming out of the comfort zone. That we've been in for a long time. Brushing off the cobwebs and the stickiness and the... Because spiders are also very creative animals. In Native American Indian mythology, it's the spider that weaves the world into being, which of course we've also got here with this world card, weaving it into being, something being revealed. Again, kind of like these being taken away is how it feels, that kind of cobwebness, that kind of cloudiness, fogginess that has surrounded us as a race for so long. That card certainly wanted to come out. So what have we got? We have got the 4 of Cups over the top of the 5 of Cups. So there really is this kind of sadness and sorrow and melancholy and disappointment and regret and totally stuck in the past kind of feeling here. When you get the 5 and the 4 of Cups together, there's real melancholy. There's real kind of like, again, it feels like that sense of, like I was saying here with buyer's regret kind of energy. But this is our hopes and fears, so this has not actually manifested. This is our potential, if you like, our hopes and our fears of regretting our past, regretting our mistakes, regretting the relationships that we've had, regretting the decisions that we've made when it comes to our emotional failures. In many ways is kind of how it's coming through. It's kind of seeing it all as a failure, like it's all just not been worth it. What's been the point? Why did I bother doing that? I'm never going to do it again kind of energy is what's coming through here. But there's also a sense of kind of, it's all experience. It's all experience, and that part is yet to be learnt. Like the fact that whatever we do, we learn from it, we experience it, we learn the reason we do it in the first place is because we need to learn something from it. So we're collectively learning at this time from our past experiences, from the decisions that we've made, from our emotional screw-ups, for want of a better word. Because ultimately, we're all looking for this. We're all looking for love. We're all looking for that complete happiness. But we, first of all, I feel, what this is saying, we first of all have to find it within ourselves, because she's actually, if you look here, she's reflecting in that water. She's actually looking into the water and she's seeing herself looking back. And so that for me is what this card is kind of saying, that it's finding that love, that self-love within. Our self-love, our self-worth, our value in ourselves for who we are, valuing the experiences that we've had as well. Understanding that there has been purpose behind all of it, even the pain and the sorrow, the suffering, the hardships have all taught us something. And we're ending with the Magician, but he is in reverse. So this is kind of saying to me that, because this is about manifestation. But when the Magician's in reverse, he's kind of manifesting from a place of not really knowing that he's manifesting. So that's kind of collectively what we've been doing, is manifesting what we thought was going to bring us happiness and joy. And the Magician is still in reverse, so that it's kind of saying there's still this lesson yet to be learned here. But first of all, if you like, first of all, we have to be in this place, and also this place of value, self-value, and not just about value of things on the outside. It's not just about the material, because the Magician works with all the elements. He works with the emotions, he works with the mind, the thought process, which is why normally the Magician will be seen or shown with all of the tools of, like, a sword for the mind, a rod or a wand for the creative fire aspect, the cup for the emotional aspect, and then the pentacle, which is, of course, where it all kind of manifests, where it all comes together. So this, I feel, is the process that we are going to be moving into. There is still something that we need to learn about how we bring the physical into reality, and that it is all about our manifestation. It's all about our thought processes. It's all about what we're putting out there over and over again that brings in our reality. Because the King of Pentacles can also be seen as that material reality working within the physical domain. And so this is what I feel, this is where we're shifting into. But we're still needing to learn that process. We're still needing to learn that that's how the physical world exists around us, or appears around us, or becomes. And it's not about kind of all of this desiring something as a negative as well. It's also not necessarily even about having to put the hard work into it either. And keeping that same idea of how things have always been, how we've always done things over and over again to get whatever it is that we do desire to manifest in our lives. It's about understanding that we are worthy of having it in the first place, is what I feel is coming through here. And it's funny because before I did this reading, I got this saying come into my head. It was like I was told to kind of keep repeating it over and over again. And the saying is, I am whole and complete as I am. And I think that's what this is saying here. I am whole and complete as I am. And if we get to that stage, then we will attract what it is that is going to make us feel even more whole and complete. Or it's just going to add to it. It's just going to add more to us already being whole and complete, as we already are. And that was the message. So that is basically what I'm going to call this reading today. And so I'm going to pull from the Messages of Life cards and see what they are wanting to say to us. For this full moon in Libra reading. Full moon in Libra for the collective. And I will just say as well that these cards do use the word God in them quite a lot, and I personally don't use that word because I believe for me personally it has too many connotations around it, so I tend to try and use something that has less emotional, what's the word? Affiliation, shall we say. So I tend to use words like source, divine, creative, divine. But of course you can use any word that you prefer, that suits you. But that is just my personal preference. So if anybody has these cards and they know that what I'm saying is different, that's the reason why I'm doing it. So, source energy. A card for this Libra full moon, please. What are the messages or the message for the collective for the Libra full moon? Libra full moon. Libra full moon message for the collective for this Libra full moon. They're really huge cards, by the way. Libra full moon. Card for, okay. We'll go with that one. Trusting, which is kind of what's been a bit of a theme for this reading, interestingly. Today I trust in Source. No matter what happens as my day unfolds, I will remember to remain in harmony. Libra full moon. I will maintain my sense of humour and I will keep my focus on Source's love for me. In these ways, I will minimise drama and increase my inner spiritual strength. That's really just about summed up this whole reading. I do love it when that happens. So that is where I'm going to finish this particular reading and say thank you very much for listening to my reading. If you have enjoyed it, please could you thumbs it up for me. The more thumbs it gets, the more likes, the more the platform takes notice that people are actually listening to my channel, and they then kind of give it more response for itself as well, if that makes any sense. Basically, please like this video if you found anything of any interest or you want to hear more of what I have to say. Then it really helps me. I mean, it just helps enormously to kind of grow my channel. You'd be very surprised how just tapping that thumb makes all the difference. So please do that for me. And also there is a subscription button there if you want to know or join my channel and know when I'm putting out my videos. At the moment I'm kind of focusing very much on the new moon and the full moon videos. But I am going to get back into doing more of the zodiac signs themselves as well. It's just at the moment I have astrological stuff of my own going on, and so I'm kind of like just doing what I can do rather than pushing myself too much with it all. So but yes, tap that subscription button and also the bell to let you know when the videos are coming out, and I will also work my way through the rest of the 2022 videos that I haven't managed to do yet. So I believe it's Sagittarius, the next one, so hopefully I will be getting that one out this week as well. And of course, part 2 of my series of the full moon, new moon videos will be coming out as well. Part 2 being the astrology part of this as well. So if you're interested in more in the astrology, please look out for that one as well and watch that one. Like, share, comment as well, because that also gives this platform indication that people are actually connecting and actually communicating and kind of taking notice, which is what I need for it to be happening, really. So thank you very much to those of you who have commented or have liked my videos and have shared my videos. I really do appreciate it. It is all part of my growth and part of the journey that we're taking together in this upcoming changes that we're going through. My videos, I will just say very quickly, they are not your average video. So if you're looking for some other kind of easier understanding, then this probably isn't what you're wanting. So anyway, with that being said, thank you again very much, and I'm going to finish here and say I hope you have a wonderful Libra full moon. Enjoy it with friends and family, socialize and communicate from the heart, and stay in harmony and balance and love and enjoy yourselves. And hopefully I will see you all again soon.